7 p.m. So we will call our meeting to order. This is the Environmental Commission meeting for May 2nd, 2023. I'm at a loss. We're going to figure this out. So we'll start with Michael.
Yes, here.
Lynn.
Present.
Shantu is here, not here. We have Sue.
Sue's here.
Jonah is here.
Virginia is not here. Sandra is not here yet. They might still be arriving. They changed the seating, so I got confused. I wanted to make sure we went into the order of things. We each were emailed a copy of the minutes from last meeting. Did you guys have a chance to review that?
Yes.
Looked kind of correct to me.
Yes.
Did look correct,
Looks
yeah.
correct to you guys.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Plus they're recorded, so we'll approve the minutes. A motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
So moved.
It's going to move. Good. Awesome. I don't see any audience participation today.
Chuck, before you go to audience, is there any way I can get a copy, or I could get copies, after your meeting of your minutes?
You didn't get them emailed by Shannon?
I've not gotten them yet.
I could forward them right
No.
now.
Yeah.
Or I could tell Shannon. I mean, it's okay. I didn't know if you had an extra copy.
I didn't print it.
I didn't print it
I
either.
apologize.
No worries. I'll talk to Shannon about that tomorrow.
Just email it to her.
Okay. It's going to be emailed to you right now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Daisy. Sorry about that. We don't have any formal presentations, and I don't see any audience members. We'll roll into commissioner reports. And we had a awesome turnout with respect to our volunteers and activities for the Earth Day celebration at Liberty Park. The hiccup was the weather didn't cooperate.
It
It was
so true.
sub 50 degrees and raining during an event that we had scheduled outdoors. The park system had us in a pavilion, so we were sheltered. They set up a fire in the pavilion, so we had some warmth, but we didn't have many customers. We had a few dozen folks come out, family units, I think 8 total families, and then a few other
Yeah, around there.
stragglers.
Considering the weather, that was good.
It was very good considering the weather. Our volunteer turnout, and thanks to Cindy at the high school science club, our volunteer turnout was amazing. And what they provided in opportunities for education and activities was so much fun. They had finger stamp pollinator art projects for little kids.
Oh, how nice.
We had a display of choose this, not that, similar to the eat this, not that. So a way to mitigate a plastic bottle, a way to choose a laundry detergent that's lower cost to ship, less water usage, less plastic container in these laundry sheets, shampoos that are the hockey pucks of concentrated shampoo, different toothpaste options that don't have as much packaging, dish soaps, the choice of a plastic scrubber versus a bamboo and natural scrubber. And they had these kids who were ready to explain why these choices are good choices and small changes a household can make. They also had wildflower seeds that they were packing up.
Yeah, and they put them in like nice little toilet paper rolls. You could take them home, just plant those. Yeah.
Coffee filters and toilet papers to make an instant flower pot when folks get home, and something for a young person to tend to, and all native plants to the region in those seeds. And then we had our recycling information. We had information about a little bit of information about compost, some information about soil and water. Jonah, did I forget anything that we had?
No, I mean, the kids, we had a lot of young kids come. It was my favorite part of the entire day. But we had a lot of young kids come, and they really enjoyed that. Do you recycle or trash this sort of? It was a game we made out of it, Chuck and I did. And these little kids got so excited, just sort of, do you throw this out or do you recycle it, and can you? they learned a lot.
Right.
For the most part, they were pretty accurate. Yeah, the couple things they learned, the soft plastic that you could crinkle with your fingers, you can't recycle. The machine won't sort it. And so a lot of parents and even kids learned that.
Yeah.
We gave them kind of prizes from waste management, right? For participating, playing along. And, they really enjoyed it. They were walking around with these huge water bottles the size of them.
Oh.
It said like waste management on them. They wanted to go fill them, and they were like, walking around carrying this that probably weighed as much as they did, but it was really cool. So,
And they had trucker caps and
Yes.
orange safety vests and
Oh,
sunglasses,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
keychains, and
Oh,
a
man.
bunch of other
Let's
cool
do that
stuff
again
that
when it's
WM
nice.
provided us
yeah.
as part of their outreach
Yeah.
and to help our residents make better choices.
Right.
I think, given the weather, we had an amazing turnout.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we had great weather, we had enough activities and enough materials to accommodate 100 people.
Good.
Without a doubt, yes.
Good. Good. Chuck, are you coming to council this Tuesday?
I'll be at this. I should be at this Tuesday.
Okay. Can you give a information on a Saturday, April
Absolutely.
22nd, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll talk to Shannon, and maybe she'll put your name on the on our agenda, or she'll just probably call you up, because I think the presentation and what you've done so far, especially for Earth Day, people need to hear about that.
And I think it's also important that we recognize our partnership with the schools and Cindy Kurt's
Right.
effort. And she had a lot of her students that were there were part of the Environmental Science Club, and then there were some that were just there for community service hours. And
That's always good.
we were able to convert one of the young men into a advocate for the environment. Initially he was just there for the hours, and by the time we were done, he was full on engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with him on the last family we saw that day, playing this or that, game, and recycle this or throw that out game, and he was having a great time, so.
Were there any videos taken of anything, the activities that were going on? It'd be nice to post them to Facebook.
We have a few still
We
photos.
have photos. I believe Cindy took a couple photos.
The videos would have been cute.
Videos would have, and that's now a note. I wish I wish I took some videos, but no, I think there were still photos, but.
And watching the little kids do their thumbprint pollinators,
Oh, I think
making
that's
butterflies.
Yeah, sunflowers and stuff, yeah.
Caterpillars with fingerprints, and literally it was fingerprint and stamp pads
yeah.
and a magic marker, and they were
Oh,
making their
nice.
little artwork, and it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Chuck, are you going to do anything with the the barrels that we got, the plastic barrels? Because I was walking around my house, and the water from my roof goes into the rain barrel, and that's how I water my flowers. Are you going to bring that back, or do you? I mean, because Coca-Cola gave us those rain barrels before, and they were a big hit. A lot of people wanted those. And
So
I
we
was
did-
just thinking of myself, because I wouldn't mind having another one.
So over the years, we did rain barrels two different ways. We had a Boy Scout that was involved in it one way,
So true.
and then we had another one where we provided the barrels and gave information about where to get the hookups, and then information about how the building department will do an inspection after you hook it up. Because
Yes.
it's very important that
Mhm.
the rain barrel and the gutter system are a sealed system. That way you're not causing
Like a
water
backup.
to
Yeah.
flow the wrong way.
Yes.
In other words, essentially negate your gutters altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So the hiccup that we had recently was Coca-Cola's or the soft drink manufacturer, not to put them on blast, providing the rain
They
barrels.
did. They did.
So we will reach out again, and we will attempt to get something from them. And if we could do that, then we could have a program. We could also coordinate something with maybe with Tinkers Creek Watershed, because they have done rain barrel programs
Mhm.
in the past. What was nice about the Boy Scout is he raised money to get the rain barrels installed in people's houses for free.
Right.
So he did the
Nice.
the Eagle Scout project
Yeah.
was all inclusive. The second way we did it, it had some cost on the incumbent of the resident,
Yeah.
and then the rain barrel program that Watershed puts on, there's a cost to that one too for the residents. We'll look into it, Daisy.
Let me know. I'll help.
It's
I'll even call, well, I can't call Coca-Cola. Sorry about that, people, but you could call.
Good luck with
or the other soft drink companies. There's a couple of them.
You can't even get in the front door of Coca-Cola without an appointment. I mean, I call corporate and everything. And there's a whole rigmarole you have to go through.
Really?
But they're not the only soft drink company in
Yeah,
Twinsburg.
yeah. So PepsiCo is out there. We can try PepsiCo.
So 7-Up, Snapple. So we have three.
Oh, really?
Red Bull.
We have the big three
No.
in Twinsburg, so we'll figure out a way that maybe we can luck out and get those.
And the car washes. I'd heard somewhere along the line that the soap and stuff that the automatic car washes use come in those big barrels, and that, at least my understanding, can also be used for that too.
Okay.
Well,
Good
isn't
idea.
that free advertising for them too? They put their name real big on the barrel.
We'll figure out something.
I mean, you know,
as we think
that's-
of places that have these barrels,
Right.
because the barrel, in the rain barrel business, the barrel's the most expensive part. The diverter piece, it could be less than $20. And the installation, depending on what style you get, is as simple as a drill.
Right.
Some of them, it requires cutting and piecing it back together, but that's still not,
Chuck will install for you.
that's still not a high, it's not a challenge, it's a challenging project, but it's not an
Difficult.
impossible one for a homeowner that has a rudimentary set of tools.
Yeah, not very labor intensive.
Yeah. And the rain barrels, they're important because they get, you have less water going into the sewers, and you're spending less and you're using less of the treated water for drinking on your plants and flowers. And I can tell you that a rain like we had today, you could have filled off of a regular roof line, you could have filled more rain barrels than the city will allow you to have.
Yeah.
Fill
Right.
up quickly.
So true.
60-gallon rain barrels.
Yeah, yeah.
In a few minutes of rain,
Mm-hmm.
20-foot gutter, you could fill it up. Okay. So that was Earth Day. Daisy, thanks for the rain barrel conversation.
Anytime.
We have our scheduled event for document shredding.
25th?
on Saturday the 24th. Whatever the Saturday is, it should be the 24th.
You said June?
June.
Okay.
That's going to be at the service department. 6 boxes or bags of paper to be shredded. The type of paper to be shredded is paper that has
Oh, I have it. I give it to you, I think.
regular paper could be recycled. The paper that you're going to want to shred relates to information that has sensitive stuff on it. Bank statements, mortgage documents, legal
Here-
stuff.
No, that's Earth Day. Never mind.
So
That's-
that information, that's where we want to shred.
Yeah.
We're not going to, we would encourage residents not to shred newspapers, magazines, catalogs.
No.
Those papers can go right into the curbside recycling program and be
Yes.
recycled. The truck has a limited capacity, and I hope we fill it up.
Mm-hmm.
We've filled it in years past. And it is awesome to see the thing bowing on the sides and hearing the machine bog down because we put a little too much in there. So June 24th is that, from 9 a.m. till noon or until the truck is full. So we would encourage residents to get there closer to the 9 o'clock hour versus waiting till noon because there is a small chance the truck will be full.
How many bags are you allowed?
We're allowing 6 bags or boxes, limiting it to residents of Twinsburg, and encouraging it to be the type of paper that is worthy of being shredded versus magazines and that kind of stuff. Make sense?
Yeah.
And then
And no
that-
pre-shredding.
No pre-shredding.
No
It's gonna
pre-shredding.
get shredded there. There's no need to pre-shred it. It doesn't hurt the shredder to put pre-shredded paper into the shredder. It just is a little bit redundant, but maybe the advantage of that is the shredded paper would then be recycled versus shredded paper cannot go into the curbside bin. And it's limited to where we could get that recycled. Now, there are things you could do with shredded paper. You could add it to your compost. You could use it for pet bedding. there's valuable things that you could do with it, but it cannot go into the curbside recycling program because it's just too small for the sorting mechanisms.
I remember when I had cats and when they got their surgery on their paws, you had to use the
Shredded
cut
newspaper.
newspaper, you know. So there's uses, good uses for it.
Yeah. And then moving forward, tentatively scheduled 10 a.m. June 28th, and this is mostly for the commissioners. But if anyone were to reach out to us, I could confirm that this is going to happen. We have a tour of the wastewater plant, tentatively scheduled. Let me know if you're available, and I'll coordinate with Nate. If something were to happen based on their staffing needs or their schedule, please be aware that they run a very tight ship as far as the amount of employees that they have. And while today it sounded like we're a go, there's a chance with call-offs or something that they wouldn't have the resource to accommodate us.
Is it 10 o'clock?
10 a.m.
Is that a Saturday or?
That's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
So Saturday, they're open 24 hours, but again, staffing's limited on the weekend. And then Saturday is not a high flow day. Because, if you think of our city, the southern half is a lot of industrial stuff. And it's not open. The offices along 82, a lot of those businesses are not using water and sewer. So to go midweek, midday, you get to see it at full flow, for lack of a better term.
Right.
And we avoid going in midweek. We also avoid the Monday rush of those systems that had some stagnant water, not flowing as much. It's a little bit more pungent at that time.
Are there any requirements when we visit, like wear tennis shoes or?
Probably we should wear comfortable shoes. It's a lot of walking. They keep you pretty safe, but you are up and
Yes.
down some stairs.
Yeah, you do. They're
You're up and down like basically fire escape kind of stairs, steel stairs,
right.
and you're up and down those probably 8 times
Oh,
at the different stages, just to see how all their equipment works and what's really going on. So, it's an interesting tour. I think it's worthwhile. The takeaway for that, from an environmental standpoint, is the first sort of their material, so to speak, is to eliminate things that cannot be broken down. So it's mostly your wipes. So even though they say they're flushable, they don't really flush, and they have to be extracted from that system, and that ends up going to the landfill, and it's not a pleasant job.
Right. Wear a mask for the smell.
We may never drink city water again after visiting.
So Lynn, I can tell you that the water that comes out of that plant is so much cleaner than the water that's upstream from the creek. It is absolutely amazing what they're able to do. And hopefully they'll be further along on some of their asks from City Council. There's an idea that Nate had shared with me last year that I support in principle. I don't know what the costs really are, but they use chlorine now, and they could switch to a lighting system, and ultimately it would make the plant much safer, and then it would also save long term. Would save money,
Right.
but it has a huge cost up front. So that's going on June
28th.
28th. And then that would be kind of the end of my report. Do we have any other, Jonah had something he talked with me about the Earth Day program. We could go see if we all have business, I guess, to bring forth.
I have actual stuff, so we could see if anybody else wants to.
We'll have you go
Yeah.
last if you actually.
Yeah, that works.
Michael?
Yeah, so I was not able to attend any of the Earth Day events. We had a CERT training the same day. So if it's any consolation, we were out in the weather. So I can completely sympathize with what you put up with. That was weather-wise, was definitely a miserable day. Along those same lines, I did see that the e-waste recycling went very well. There was a lot of interest in that, which is great in twofold. I mean, it's great because it does, for the environmental issue, but by the same respect, my background is in IT, so to see people that are bringing their computers and having the hard drives and things shredded, that does my heart good, because that's an excellent way to prevent, personal information being out there and identity theft and along those lines. So, fantastic program. The only other thing I had was I did have an idea that I was kicking around, and it's something that I don't know that we could put in place for this growing season, but I seem to remember that at one point, the Twinsburg Garden Club used to have like spotlights on the Garden of the Month, and I thought it would be an interesting perspective from this commission to have it to where we could spotlight residents who either have most of their landscaping or a garden project or something that's done primarily with native plants. Obviously native plants are better because they require less water, they don't need as much fertilizer, they don't need as much pesticide. Bringing native plants back into the area does restore a natural habitat for wildlife, and it does preserve the biodiversity. It could be something as simple as a yard sign or a call out on social media. And I was also thinking that if you were looking for more buy-in from the community, we can maybe get some sponsorship from a local greenhouse. I was thinking more like, Coleman's or someplace like that, instead of necessarily like a big box store, to kind of keep it, keep the whole thing local and isolated there. Like I said, I know that growing season and gardening season is kind of just starting, so it might be a little preempted to get it in place for this growing season, but just something to keep in the back of your mind.
So is your idea behind this, like, I know we may not be able to implement right now, but your idea sort of to, put a sign, an award, something, spotlight on a yard with native plants?
Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. It would call attention to not only the people that put the work into it,
right,
and have the interest in making it all native, but it would also, kind of draw people's attention to it,
right,
and let them know that, hey, this is something that that's doable, because if you see your neighbors doing it, and it kind of takes the, I guess not necessarily the stigma, but it makes it look like, I saw, my neighbor John out there doing it, and I could see that it's not that difficult. Maybe it's something that I could do, and
right,
talk to him and find out that, maybe it's not as expensive as you thought, to kind of, spread the word. And
so I'm in education. That's my primary role. But in the summers, I work for various painting companies or do my own painting on exteriors of homes. In Lakewood, Shaker, one of those, near Cleveland cities, they do something similar. I remember painting a house, and they had this beautiful sort of all these native plants, this essentially garden right off the sidewalk and a path through it, and like a sign essentially saying, native plants, this, organization awards you this award. And it was sort of your idea, and I thought it was super cool years ago. I never thought to implement something like that in this way, but I really think that's a cool idea and something that we should definitely consider and talk a little bit more about. But I do think you might be right. It's probably maybe a little too late for this year, but the conversation for next should probably start.
Build the framework, and then we have it in place by next spring. Yeah.
No, I definitely think that's cool, though. I always thought it was cool when I saw that, so.
I like it a lot. I also like the idea of including the HOAs that have put in pollinator gardens and other things to maybe encourage the community green space that an HOA manages.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
To become a little bit more colorful, a little bit more lively, and maybe even less maintenance in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
If we could incorporate residential awards, HOAs.
Yeah, no reason why not.
Maybe even a for-profit entity or like a library, school, a business to put in the garden. I know that was one of the things that the high school kids were looking forward to, is that same kind of garden that you're describing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Chuck, there used to be, and I don't know if the Twinsburg Garden Club, if that's still in existence, and I don't know if they still do that, but in previous years, excuse me, in previous years, they would just walk around the neighborhood and spotlight your yard, your plants, your flowers. And surprisingly, this had to be over 10, 12 years ago. You know, they put a little sign in my flower bed, and I'm thinking, you know how you plant flowers not just for yourself, not for anybody else to admire it. And I just felt so good when they did that. And that'll be great if the Environmental Commission can bring that back into, you know, even if you did it by ward, because there's 5 wards in the city of Twinsburg. And you know, you could choose anyone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, give them a, you know, a beautification sign or whatever. And I think, you know, one of our departments can make up signs for you.
Probably service.
Service has a sign.
Yeah, the service. Yeah.
Sign position. Job is making
Right.
signs. And amongst other things, they also do
Yeah.
snow plowing,
Right.
the grass cutting.
Right.
But they're
Trim trees.
There's a sign maker in house.
Right.
I don't know a lot about gardening, so, I mean, I know what some native plants are, but could we have a list of what are considered to be native plants? To know if you have them in your yard, or you, next time go to the garden center, you would want to purchase them? Because, I mean, native plants, you know, do you know 30 of them? I don't. I know maybe 4 or 5.
Our 2 members that would know those off the top of their head
Yeah.
are not here today.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right, Virginia.
But I mean, if
Virginia
we,
and Sandra
yeah,
are
but just to have a list would be helpful, you know.
that's their wheelhouse.
Because I'm going to be planting in my homeowners associate, well, not in their part, but my part, you know. And I, if I knew some of them that would be pretty and flowering, I might choose those. But not knowing all about it myself, it needs guidance from somebody.
And that could also go hand in hand with the partnerships with the local greenhouses, because
Yeah,
you know, if it's sponsored by, just as an example, sponsored by Coleman's, they could have a section where it's like,
okay.
all these plants here are native
Considered
Ohio plants.
native, yeah.
Well, as of a few years ago, most of the native plants, talking to Virginia, were started from seed,
Yeah.
and they would be ordered from catalog. And maybe they were doing that because they know how to garden.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the market has changed, that they have native ones potted,
Yeah.
ready to go.
And maybe their garden club does offer those for sale at their annual sale.
That's-
Macedonia used to do that. They would offer from your yard, you know, you would take up some seedlings and
So
offer them for sale.
Saturday, May 13th is the Gardens Club's plant sale.
Pretty soon,
Oh.
May 13th. Where's
Yeah.
it at?
That's going to be at the Historical Society, the Red Barn, off the square. And it's 9 to noon. And they're advertising a large selection of native plants. Capital
Good.
letters.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our first
That
stop.
would be, yeah.
Those are
that would
our
be good.
local experts.
Mm-hmm.
And
So true.
there's a couple master gardeners out of that garden.
9 to 12,
9 to
okay.
noon. I like the idea though of recognizing
Thank you.
the gardens.
Yeah.
A few signs and a happy snap of a picture and getting it on the city's Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly.
That's,
I mean, minimal effort, and like Daisy said, it's like, you know, people put a lot of work into their gardens and their landscaping, and it's nice to have just the recognition that, hey, someone sees that and they really like it. It makes you feel good.
Right. It does.
That's all I have. Though.
yeah, we just have to be careful with it. My concern is we think something's native, and that's why we're going to have to do the research that you said.
We
Yeah.
definitely need to
Yeah.
consult, you know, garden club or
Yeah.
greenhouses.
Yeah.
But-
Yes.
Yes.
Um, that's the only concern. But other than that, it's fabulous. Love it. Thank you,
My pleasure.
Lynn. Anything?
Yeah, a couple comments. I did go to the e-waste at the library and watched their big machine destroy my hard drive on my
Oh,
infected computer. I said, no, make sure that you destroy this totally because it's got ransomware on it. And they're like, oh my goodness. But they have a huge machine and it basically drills a hole into the hard drive. They take your computer apart. But it was interesting to watch that. So they did a nice job and they had some recycling going on there too. Good turnout there despite the weather.
Very cool.
The other part of my little dissertation here is a little bit disconcerted to learn that our HOA is taking Canadian geese eggs and destroying them, so there won't be so many geese. I find that very, very hard to swallow. I have seen a truck around the neighborhood that says they remove geese humanely. That's a big truck and it's got a big signage on the side of it. There's got to be a different way for our HOA to take part in something like that rather than destroy the eggs. It seems cruel to me.
That's against the law.
Yeah, I think, the problem is that there's just a lot of them.
I
coming here.
understand
I
that.
almost hit one on the highway coming here right now.
Well,
It was just stopped in the middle of the highway.
slow down. Pretty
That's
across the
against
street.
the law.
Yeah.
You cannot,
There
if you,
is a season for sporting of geese. I'm not,
Just like there's for deer.
it's,
there is?
yes.
Can't eat
There-
them though.
There's this
yeah.
season,
No, you,
but,
I like goose.
I didn't know
it's
there was a
interesting.
season.
If they're subscribing to a company, I hope they're following the regulations and,
what I've been told a long time ago, can't touch it. Absolutely cannot touch the Canadian geese. Cannot. Right now, they're almost laying their eggs. And if you go into Walmart, that area, you'll see hundreds of them getting ready to lay the eggs. And in the state of Ohio, you cannot touch, kill, remove, or anything, or else you'll go to jail.
Why is it the HOA is allowed to do that then?
They're not allowed to do it. They're breaking the law.
What HOA is she talking
So-
about?
I looked that up and talked to somebody. You cannot touch them.
I'd always heard the same thing. Yeah.
You heard the same
I've heard
thing?
the same thing.
What's
Yeah.
that on?
I thought they were protected or
media.
something.
They're
to a
Twinsburg.
size that
Yes.
they couldn't remove them because of what you're describing, Daisy.
Who's on the board over there?
So, this is my recommendation, right? Ohio Department of Natural Resources covers all the wildlife. And they have enforcement officers that, so wildlife enforcement is typically beyond municipal government. And it's
It
with
is.
the state agencies. So I would recommend contacting the
Federally protected.
if you're aware of this happening,
Contact the
Right.
ODNR.
contact ODNR because
Write to somebody on the board,
I-
show them that.
They have to have license,
so-
registration.
Lynn, what you're describing to me seems like it would be worthy of you making a phone call since you know the particulars, where this is taking place, the names of the vehicles that you've seen, the responsible parties in an association. And I don't think, I don't know if this is the right forum, but I'm fairly certain that contacting the Ohio Department of Natural Resources would be a good first step.
Right, right. I was pulling out of Walmart and there was this Canada geese, Canadian geese, was walking in front of my car. So you know what I did? I slowed down. I'm thinking, I'm not going to jail.
Well, you slow down because you're a good person, Daisy. It had little to do with you going to jail.
But I would
You're a
anyway.
good person.
Yes,
So don't,
right.
I don't believe that it was because you were threat of enforcement.
Yeah.
It's because
But-
you're a good person.
Right. And then the cars behind me were blowing the horn at
Oh.
me. And I'm going,
Go around.
I'm stopping. And the geese went on its way. But I'm thinking, are you in that big of a hurry not to know what's going on with me and what's in front of me? Then when they saw the geese go to the middle lane and then crossing, then the other cars that were coming the opposite way, they noticed I stopped and they stopped. But
So,
I
hopefully,
think they're absence.
Hopefully, if you reach out to ODNR, you'll get some action, because I believe that's the right
Yes.
first step.
It was interesting that they are called Canadian geese because they really originated from Europe.
Interesting.
Bit of trivia there.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I'm naive to
Geese.
birds. I know I have a hummingbird that nests nearby and we feed it. Any more to share?
That's all.
I think it's awesome you brought that up. You had the courage to bring it up in the public forum and to let folks know that you're seeing things that are not
Apropos.
not in the best interest of environmental things. Like the wildlife is part of it.
It is.
Yeah.
And,
For sure.
unless they're overpopulated, so in other words, there's not enough food or there's no predators, or however that system works, there probably should be no reason to do what you're doing or what you reported they're doing.
Yes,
Thanks.
It takes a lot of courage to bring it up.
it does.
Because if it's an HOA, those are your neighbors you're talking about, and it takes courage. Good job. Gotcha.
I went to Quasar finally. I was able to get in there. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was able to get in there a couple weeks ago. I finally was able to get in with Mark Suchan. He had gotten promoted, so that's why he was not returning my
Okay.
calls. And so I went to Worcester. It was a pretty interesting. I learned a lot of things from the sustainability point. They take organic biosolids, food waste, and food and grease waste, and kind of recycle it, basically digest it. They generate natural gas and also electricity from it. And then they take also when it goes into the effluent tank, they use that as a feed, as a soil amendment, basically. They have a pretty huge pond that they, more than a few million gallons. I did not write it down. He was going pretty quickly when he was doing the tour with me. And farmers, just come up and get 6,000 gallon tankers. They need to have, and they will, but this was only an effluent class B, meaning it was used in irrigating food, but the food can only be eaten by animals, not human. But if they have a class A, pardon me?
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there's a class A, there's just, he was trying to tell me, I was trying to understand what how there was a definition of how by law they have to do something, so. I got a lot of good information. I did get some handouts that I wanted to hand out. Anybody's interested. I can get pricing from him and stuff. I'm sorry. Right here.
Thank you, Sue.
I hope I have enough copies. I asked him to get me.
Thank you.
Did you get one?
Yes, I did.
I think we have
got
an extra
enough.
one for everyone that's here.
All right. And then there was some of these. I don't have enough of these, but they manage 400,000 tons per year. They do pickup, hauling, and they do have Class A biosolids, but that's in a different. It's by Toledo, and they're permitted year round to accept waste. So that's what I wanted to see, if we should get pricing for local businesses and we can recommend to them, because it's a sustainable solution. I know some people have a problem that it's a land application, but it's a nutrient amendment, so I don't foresee any problems with it. Also in the wastewater plant, Twinsburg doesn't have this, but they have installed biosolids, trying to get that into here. They have introduced that. I know there's a cost to it, These biosolids can be recycled all year round. Whereas Twinsburg, where the city of Twinsburg wastewater, wherever it's sending it to, they can only have a limited time frame when the farming is going on that they can send it to. So they have to store that biosolids. But
So how did they get their material?
from,
The Quasar.
they go pick up.
They go pick it up.
Yeah.
So a restaurant could have two separate waste receptacles.
They buy grease and they just go pick it up. So
So
I-
they're buying the grease.
they're not buying the grease; they're charging it.
They're charging to dispose of the grease.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a cost to it, but
Right.
you know.
But the restaurant has to pay somebody to pick up their grease.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, I wanted to get pricing from him, what he will charge or whatever, and so, but I wanted to kind of get that to you guys, so that was one of the things for, food and grease waste.
Okay. Do they do like, so they don't do the composting of other organic material though?
No, just only food and grease waste, organic biosolids.
Okay. Fascinating. I've seen this logo somewhere.
You probably, if you go on Alexander Road and keep going.
Yes. That's where it is, south side of the street.
Yep.
Knew it.
It looked familiar too.
Thank you.
Yep. So, but that's their Cleveland, and they're trying to do something over there too. This was in Worcester where I
Right.
went, so I just,
Well, you took a heck of a drive to Worcester, so thank you for doing that.
I just wanted to, you know, these are kind of things that, you know, they're viable solutions that you can provide, and, you know, I want to go in the wastewater plant and see what they do. So on June 28th, I think I'm going to take a vacation day and then go in there and just try to figure out, you know, if it's economically sustainable or what the payout is.
Right.
And, you know, figure that out. So that's all I have.
Thank you. So,
Well, I don't have too much other than being new to Twinsburg, and I've been exploring the website a lot, and I found this, and I thought this was excellent. I'm sure this has probably been passed around by the waste management company, but there was a few things on here I didn't even know that you couldn't recycle, you know, in our recyclable container. So, and it does say year-round, you can always go to earth911.com for a local drop-off site. So we don't have to always wait. You know, we could put that in you know, our website. If you have some things like this to dispose of, you can go to earth911.com and find out where to take it. I mean, we all know there's that place down off of Route 8 in Stowe that operates about 3 or 4 months in the summer.
right, June through September.
Take your old paint, although latex now, I believe you
Just
you
try
just
out.
leave it
Yeah.
open, but you know, the oil-based stuff and all your tires and all that stuff. But yeah, there was a couple interesting things on here about contaminants to keep, you know, they want to keep out, which I think this was the big thing in Cleveland when they weren't recycling for a long period of time. People were throwing a lot of this stuff into their bins, and it wasn't worth trying to take it out, so they just put it all in the garbage dump.
So, if you're interested, we could look into organizing another visit to the Recycle Sort Center for you to see it.
Okay.
They are in the process of opening a new one in Oakwood Village.
Oh, yeah.
So when that gets opened, they gave us an invitation for our last visit to
Great.
Yeah, I talked to
to
the,
come to their new plant when it opens. And I drive by it once in a while, it still looks like it's under construction.
it got delayed. I talked to, so that was my other one that I talked to Beth Twimper. She's the manager of this whole region, and they have some parts and stuff that got delayed in ordering. So it was supposed to have been May 1st, then there was June 1st, and July, it's August 1st now.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully they'll stand by their invitation from when we visited what seemed like a state-of-the-art facility in Maine to one that they think will be more efficient and
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more efficient.
when we talk about efficiencies, they manage that entire place with a few dozen people, organizing all of the material and getting it to market, avoiding landfills and bringing it to the market. It's amazing. Our trash could be gold.
Yeah, how about
It
that?
is trash is gold, Republic Services says that.
The only other thing I wanted to just say is that Time Magazine is recognizing a lot of people who are doing a lot of good things. Some of them are movie stars, some of them are just average Joes, but they're basically really focusing on the wave of the future being solar energy, wind energy, and of course the renewable energy. So if anybody's interested, there it tells what these people have done. There's if anybody wants to see this, they can take it. And there really was a lot of good ideas in here that these people are working on. So I thought that was good, that they were recognized, whoever is working on saving our earth, you know, front page of Time. Okay. So,
Thank you, Sue.
you're welcome.
Very cool. Me?
Yeah, Joe.
All right, very exciting stuff. So, like, I somehow find time in my day to actually get a whole report and, like, type it out, because
Wow.
why not? So outside of, like, teaching, painting, all these other things I do, I live outdoors and, like, hiking and all of that.
You live outdoors?
I live outdoors. You know, I spend my time hiking on the trails. And Summit Metro Parks, what they're doing, they're hosting their 20th annual spree for all. So if you could actually take one, pass one down. It's essentially like this spree for all. It opened actually yesterday,
Wow.
closes June 30th. If you complete like 5 hikes or walks on 5 of their different trails or the same trails on Summit Metro Parks, you receive a reward. And that reward is, if you're a first-time hiker, it's a pin and like a lanyard. If you're a returning hiker, it is like a pin with like a 20 on it. It's really cool looking. It's free to participate. Obviously, hiking is free, but the reward is free for anybody in, you know, Summit County. Out of county residents, they can participate. It's just going to cost $10 for new hikers to receive this reward, $5 for returning hikers to receive that reward. But I really wanted to pass this around because, you know, it has nothing specifically to do with our commission and what we could do, but it is outdoors. It is a way to get active and be active out there in the community. And Liberty Park is, you know, Liberty Metro Parks are part of Summit, and they're one of my favorites to go to. And so I figured I'd share this with you guys. And
I appreciate this because I was familiar with the term spree for all.
yeah,
And this is where you get in trouble when you make an assumption. I had this idea in my head to qualify for the recognition of it, a hiker in Summit County. The hikes had to be substantial. And I'm reading on here that we're talking quarter-mile round
yeah,
trip.
they're not difficult at all. I mean,
And some of them are on paved, multi-use trails.
yes,
So there is some accessibility
it's accessible for all.
for this, and I was naive to what it meant to be a spree-for-all hike.
No, and Summit Metro Parks really does want to make sure that every single individual gets out and hikes and spends time outdoors in the Metro Parks. You know, Summit has always been my go-to place for the Metro Parks. Even when I lived back in Cuyahoga County, it was always Summit. I love Cuyahoga County's parks, but Summit have always been, you know, well-maintained. They're long, but they're not too long. You can always go to CVNP if you want to, but like I just love Summit Metro Parks, and so, you know, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I printed them a couple out. Feel free to recycle that if you don't want it, but
No, thank you for,
you know,
because these are pretty short trails, you know.
Yeah.
right? And you have until June 30th to do this. So
Oh, my daughter almost killed me. I took her like on a 2 point. How much is this one? The one up by Dodge that goes all the way through. I think it's 1.25 or 1.
Yeah.
yeah, it's around there. Yeah.
So I had to go back and forth.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. Yeah.
Like it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a little caveat here. You don't even need to complete the
No,
prescribed
I'm like,
hike.
Yes.
So these quarter-mile hikes.
Yeah, you just go in, turn around. They just really want you out there on the trails.
No, I'm going to mark that off before I hand it to them.
Yeah. No, and so I thought that was really cool. It opened yesterday. It goes till June 30th. I'll be definitely doing this. I'm going to try to actually go to all of them. It's like my goal to hit every single hike on here. but like obviously, if you can, get out there. But that was my one thing with that. Secondly, I just wanted to say Chuck summarized that Earth Day event very well. I really enjoyed it. It was freezing, but I definitely enjoyed seeing the kids there having fun. I just still can't forget that image of that kid carrying that huge like waste management water bottle and like trying to like carry it filled with water. It was just hilarious, and it made my day. Made all of that very worth it. And so thank you, Chuck, for being there literally the entire time. And planning it, organizing all of that, because it was a great event, despite the weather and in spite of the weather. And so that brings me to sort of my last and actual big thing. And I kind of talked to Chuck a little bit about this. I mentioned Virginia when I saw her at the Earth Day event. And so it's sort of this larger concept. I'm going to try to summarize it as short as possible. But as we meet and as we talk, in this meeting, we talk to ourselves, nobody in the audience, and the two people who are going to watch this stream or YouTube video tomorrow. Our commission has an important purpose, right? We do very important things, and we very much do serve our residents, our neighbors, and this community. We need to further our reach as a commission, and we can do this and begin to inspire good. But in order to do that, we need to actually have people recognize the already great work that we are doing as a commission and the already great work that people around this community are already doing in regards to our mission as a commission. And so what I'm kind of proposing is that the Environmental Commission of the City of Twinsburg creates like 4 different awards, of which an application or nomination process can be opened up, hopefully on a city website for members of the city or residents of the city to nominate their students, themselves, their neighbors for. And then we as a commission would review these submissions as they close, and in meeting, discuss who is the most deserving, because everybody's deserving, but who's the most deserving of an award. And then we could actually invite those individuals to a meeting, invite council members, not just, Daisy, but everybody here, and present those awards to them. And this is going to actually do 3 separate things. The first, this is going to identify that we have an environmental commission, help community members recognize that we have a commission based on this. 2, it's going to show that residents and businesses can be formally recognized by the city for doing fantastic work in regards to being environmentally conscious, friendly, caring, what have you. 3, this is going to actually promote the idea of wanting to do better in regards to the environment. And so I teach psychology. It's one of the courses I teach. And the incentive theory of psychology essentially says, in summary, that our behavior as humans is motivated by a desire for external rewards. And so this only drives us to continue to promote and do better in regards to the environment, and inspires others to do that. And so, these awards are meant to be narrow enough to prescribe criteria and identifying individuals we'd like to award them to, but broad enough so that we can interpret the recipient as a commission we would like to award it to. Originally I was thinking of like a wooden, leaf to make it like unique. I talked to Chuck briefly at the Earth Day event about like a porcelain, leaf or something unique from Master Crafters maybe. But out of practicality, even like a plaque, like which is somebody's name engraved on it, the award they're given and the year, that would do just fine as well. And the Bichette family of Twinsburg would be very willing to even pay for all of these awards, because I don't think taxpayers should be burdened on behalf of this, but we'd be very willing to pay for all of this. But my ideal awards, just to start out for possibly a first year, we have a Good Neighbor Award, essentially awarded to a resident of the city of Twinsburg who acts as a good neighbor for all, who dedicates time out of their day to the environment and leaving the planet and our community better than it was given to them. You have a Friend of a Commission Award, awarded to any adult 18 plus who is a resident of the state of Ohio, who goes above and beyond the normal capacity of assistance to help further the mission of the Environmental Commission of City of Twinsburg. And so that specific award allows us to award out of the city of Twinsburg. So like Cindy, who helped us so much with Environmental Day or Earth Day and all these other events, she actually doesn't live within the city limits. She's in the township. And so that award could go to somebody like that who has helped us so dearly, but we could finally recognize that help in a formal and very public setting. A Student of the Future Award. I will continue to say until the day I die, students are so important. And so Student of the Future Award, this is going to be awarded to any individual under the age of 18 or an individual still in grades like PK through 12 who understands that they can make an impactful change and has worked towards being that impactful change. A Good Business Award, awarded to a business in the city of Twinsburg that has environmentally sound practices and is environmentally conscious. And then just Environmental Commission recognized residents. We could do one, two, or three of these we could give out. Basically like a piece of paper, like a certificate, you almost made it, but we still want to award you something. Basically awarded to a resident of the city of Twinsburg who's doing fantastic work to sort of represent the mission of us as a commission. And so broad enough, we could define criteria, allow people to apply for what fits them, but we as a commission could interpret who we would award these to. Obviously, there's nothing set in stone, but I wanted to present this to you guys because one of the things I do as a teacher, as an event planner, is I plan events and I drive engagement. And this will drive engagement. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I'm sorry it was very long-winded, but
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea.
Incredibly well thought out.
thank you.
I actually
Chuck
like,
is speechless.
I know what you're thinking.
No,
I'm gonna
Chuck
just
is
say one
thinking.
quick thing. I like, sorry, but I like the idea not of a plaque, which is probably cheaper, but I do like the idea of having it be a special thing for maybe each kind of
And
award.
that's kind of what I like too.
A business would have a little business building or something, or I really am thinking, outside the box, but and a leaf, it could
Right.
you can also get them gold leaf. I have jewelry that has gold. It's not real gold. It's just dipped
Right.
in gold. You could something that people could set out, and then people would ask them, "What do you have that for?" I think that's a little more interesting than a plaque. But
Right.
that's just my opinion. So
No, I'm.
just have.
I was
special-
brainstorming. And I
because
figured,
people I think would look forward to getting something outside the box. Rather than a piece of paper. Yeah.
And especially for the business, you would want something different
Yeah.
because you go into a lobby of a business and they have plaques and
Yeah,
certificates.
exactly.
Right.
But if you have something that's unique hanging up, that draws attention
Right.
to it.
Right, even if you have and I researched some other cities to see who does this around the country. Raleigh, North Carolina is the only good example I could find. And they do awards, not as many, not as detailed from what I can find. It's more so one big award and scholarships for the rest, mainly driven towards students. But they still do sort of an award basis idea around a good neighbor and a good business sort of award. So that's kind of where I pulled some of the concept from. But the friend of the commission, that was really the idea came when we were talking about Cindy and others who have helped us who just can't serve here, can't be a part of this. I left him speechless.
Yeah.
His mind is working.
He kind of knew about this. I
My
just,
mind is working, and the concern I have is the calendar of events that we have. Our next meeting puts us basically 5 months
September.
from now. That's too much time for this to marinate without action. And I'm trying to think of the ways to keep this idea going forward where we don't violate the sunshine laws. I don't know how much you guys were
yeah, I'm read up on him.
on, when we came on this commission, at least when I did, I met with the law director, and they shared what we should and should not do. I don't know if that still happens.
Well, we don't do that, but I meet in other public
Yeah.
settings and follow those, yeah.
And that's the speechless piece.
We as a commission could technically, following Sunshine State laws, my understanding, we could develop a plan right here, right now, for those next 5 months,
Right.
vote on said plan, and then we could designate one individual to sort of move forward through that plan in public forum,
Here's my question to you.
if we wanted to do it right here, right now.
Can we move one of the meetings up so that, we can only have 6, correct? Can we take
If-
a meeting, move up to June and try to put that so that it's there for the next calendar year? I'm just asking, just that
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if you did need an extra meeting, I'm sure the mayor will give you one paid, even though you meet 6 times a year. And just say you wanna meet,
This is not about, at least for myself,
Okay.
getting paid this stipend.
No, I don't care about
at a
the-
meeting.
right?
There's a piece of the sunshine law that has to do with when we're doing things, it has to be open and public and records and
So true.
having the recording mechanism that the city
Right.
provides and having a public forum and a meeting date that's advertised. And I realize that there's a possibility that you could have a subcommittee of a commission, but usually when you have that committee, there's also non-commission members, so it's not inherently commission-based business.
Right.
Or organization-based business. There was a lot, and it's been years since I went through the little briefing.
But you can request a meeting,
Okay. we can
and
request
with that meeting, you will be getting paid since you are a paid commission. Because there are some commissions that it's volunteer.
We could definitely, I'd be fine with another meeting. I think that'd be very great and warranted. And what I could do is I could send, I think it'd be a great idea moving forward. If I send you guys via email, because I think I have all your emails, I'll send this to you all. And we could look over, it's the thing I just read out loud. We could look over it and add comments, edit it, what have you. Come next meeting, we come and finally discuss truly the criteria for each award. What is truly the good neighbor award going to be? It could be exactly what I said. It could be something different. Lynn, you might say, let's strike a couple words, add a couple things. Not going to hurt my feelings, but I think that would allow us to not violate sunshine laws because it will still be presented, and it was just presented. And then next meeting, June, let's, imagine. Yeah, we come here and we then discuss, these criteria, the application, how we're going to get it on the city website, because I would love for it to be on the city website. If not, I will gladly buy a website, open it, run it through that. And then in kind, I'll pay for all the awards and all that. And so I'll research and do.
We have a budget.
I know, but I truly don't want to burden the taxpayers on
No,
this.
but-
Like it is like a true core belief of
So,
mine.
so there's one thing to burden taxpayers, and then there's another thing about the benefit that you're gonna.
But that money, here's the thing, that money could be used for some of our other events or things. And so it could be used for Michael's, garden spotlight idea. And like, I have no problem just, in kind doing this. Because it's a big, it's, 5, 6, 7 things.
And how
And so-
often would you award these?
Probably once a year.
Yeah, once a year,
Yeah.
that's all we,
Okay.
so do we need to vote? Just tell me if I'm doing something wrong.
To have it, yeah, do we need
Guide
to,
us, Daisy.
Well, number one, what I could do, I could talk to the mayor about this. Because number one, the city has money. We don't want you to use your own money for something that it's a great idea, but that's what the city does. It
This is
works
true.
with you and it helps you because we want this to be a complete package, even though you said you would do it on your own, and we really do appreciate it. So I will be talking to the mayor about this, and he'll probably celebrate the idea. Anything you have that the residents feel good about, and that the residents would say, I'm proud to live in the city of Twinsburg.
This is that,
The
yeah.
city will be supporting that. When I was on the environmental commission with Chuck, and there were, Chuck probably remembers this, there was 2 residents, and I think they cleaned up, was it Glenwood, all the way
Joe
from
would walk every day with a little stick in a bucket, and he picked up litter.
litter for like
as
10
his
years.
Daily
Give them an award.
activity. No,
It was 10
got
years.
a proclamation from the
Yeah.
city.
We-
or
Yes, we gave him,
by
it
city
was,
council.
Sure.
Well,
right,
and-
it was a letter of appreciation that the mayor did.
One of-
That the environmental commission presented to him.
And one of the reasons I thought of this, it was raining the other day, and I live on Heritage Drive, right actually near Chuck. I found this out after he got on the commission, but right next to Chuck. And I was driving, to gym. I work out at Onyx, and I saw a lady walking in the rain, picking up trash. I mean, nowhere else. There's no other city I have ever lived in, stayed in, even when I was in undergrad, that anybody's ever done that. It is unique to Twinsburg, and that would be a good neighbor. I would gladly stop my car, meet that woman, introduce myself, and nominate her myself, because that is a good neighbor. We have so many good neighbors, and we could open this up for self-nominations. Billy Bob down the street can nominate themselves if they believe that, because we don't want to make it, we don't want to pigeonhole it so that somebody else has to do the nomination. We want to allow people to express the fact that they believe they're environmentally conscious, friendly, and involved. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
That's great, but this information that you're talking about, it'll be great if Chuck, being the president, if you and I met with the mayor and we talk about these things. Because we have to include the mayor in this, because number one, you're talking money's involved, you're talking residents are involved, you're talking the environmental commission is involved, and we just can't do it without getting his blessings. So I could set up an appointment. As a matter of fact, Chuck, I'll be meeting the mayor on Thursday. So if you could come early, or just let me know when you want to meet with him.
Thursday's not gonna work, but next, the 2 Wednesdays, I'll be off. When does your job open up, your schedule?
I'm a teacher.
I understand that.
2 Wednesdays, you said, so 17th?
No. When do you go on summer vacation?
Oh God, June 14th?
June 14th.
So that'd be after a meeting we would have,
But we haven't scheduled a meeting yet.
Right.
So we scheduled a meeting sometime in July.
wedding and honeymoon.
Oh, that's number one for him.
I will be gone most July, wedding and honeymoon.
I think a good first step is to meet with the mayor, gauge his interest, convince
And get his,
of that. And if we do that, when you're available,
Yeah.
I think that makes sense, because this is your idea.
Yes.
I think it's brilliant,
Maybe.
but I'm gonna lose some of what you said in translation.
Yeah.
I got most of it, but I'm gonna lose the aspirational piece of psychology, the importance of youth.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna describe it like I just did. And
Right.
You did a much better job
right.
than I could.
As I know, I met with Kathy Prokop, and she was the one, she gave me her blessings on that, so.
So, June, weddings in June?
July, weddings in July, honeymoons in July.
Business out there.
Can we not do June 6th, that's it? Is that not gonna work?
We're trying to get with the mayor first, and I want it to be respectful of Jonah's schedule.
You said 2 Wednesdays from now is when you could meet. Is that 17th?
Yes,
When are you thinking on that calendar wise?
pretty much any time after 10.
Okay. Would you guys be able to do a 3:30? I know that's late,
Is
but
this- What
Can you
day?
check with the mayor to see if he's available on May 17th?
May 17th?
3:30. I know that's late,
Sometime
but
after 3:30.
I could do 3:30 or after. But yeah, it's late, but
Okay, yes, I can do that.
Thank you, Daisy. That'll get us started on what we could do. Then we could, if need be, we could have a June meeting.
Yeah.
Determine, that would still give us enough time to advertise,
It would.
check our calendars for June 6th. If the room's available, there's a lot that goes into the meetings, because there's other commissions that meet Tuesdays. Other boards, other commissions, so it gets, we might have the idea that we could do something, and there could be other people that have to.
Right.
I will still send this out via email to all of you. Look it over.
Right.
If we do meet June 6th, come prepared for suggestion changes, all of that. So
Thank you for the
Can we
check.
email that details out before so that we can?
yeah, I'll do that.
So that we are prepared.
Oh yes.
Make it a short meeting and.
Yes, I will.
You present very well. I think, you've been an asset to not
Thank
only
you. I
the
appreciate
commission,
that.
but, with the mayor and everything. And Mayor Sam is pretty good with things, and he's got a lot of time on serving on council as well as now the mayor.
Yeah.
And a history of
and if
service
there's-
directors.
Yeah.
If there's legal things involved, he'll be aware of that too, so
Perfect.
that'd be good.
Awesome. That was brilliant.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Daisy, do you have any?
The only thing that I have, at the last meeting, I think her name was Sandra, is there a?
Sandra Bain.
Sandra Bain?
Yes, okay. Anyway, she talked to me about watering of the lawns, as the weather gets hotter, can we still water the lawns, or will the city use, like, just say you lived in Ward 5, you will water like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you lived in Ward 2, it'll be like Tuesday, Thursday, whatever. And I talked to the mayor about this. I said, do we have any resolutions or ordinance regarding that if it gets extremely hot or whatever? And he said, no, we do not.
Well, I thought I emailed something out from the regs, from the city, that said that we can't.
They can if it's an identified drought or water
It's drought.
emergency.
I didn't finish my conversation, my sentence, but he said, no, we do not have that. However, if there's a drought or a dry patch in the city of Twinsburg, they will give you robocalls on that. And this way we will update you on when you can water, where you can water, why you're watering, and all of that. So, and I'll be talking to the mayor on Thursday to just confirm what we just said. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Daisy.
You're welcome.
Do we have any unfinished business, new business, anything like that? So in October, the Garden Club is going to be hosting a presentation related to recycling, similar to what we did last year at the library. So that'll be nice that they're hosting that. Their recent event they had 50 people in attendance
Wow,
at the Garden Club program. So
good for them.
Sue with the Garden Club organizes a lot of their, Sue Davis does a lot of their
Yeah.
community engagement, outreach, and programming.
All right.
She's excited that they're getting huge attendance, 50
Yes.
people. That's a big
That's a
program.
pretty-
He's been there a while,
Yeah, and Sue's been engaged in the Garden Club
for years.
So we're on the agenda to talk about recycling there.
Right.
Is there a motion to excuse our 2 absent members?
Excuse.
Okay, they're excused then. According to this agenda, our next meeting's in September with the possibility of having a
Okay, when will the next meeting be
meeting.
again?
The next scheduled meeting is
Uh-huh.
September 5th.
Yes.
We might have an unscheduled meeting before September.
And if we do, it will be updated on the
Yeah.
city website for all residents to view.
All right, sounds
How,
good.
is that gonna, like what we're saying earlier with that?
It's going to depend on how the meeting with the mayor goes.
Yeah.
And then the city's availability for the room.
Yep.
So there is a good chance that we will have an unscheduled meeting that will be announced in advance of the meeting, sometime in June.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was noted.
I hope I said it, Joe, did I say it the right way?
Yes, I understand where there was confusion though.
Okay.
Like, I understood what you meant, but I could see where there could be confusion. The meeting will be
I just
announced.
wanted to make sure it's clear, nobody's coming back and saying you had an unscheduled.
Right, no, it will be announced, it will be scheduled, it will be on the city calendar, like I said, once and if it is planned.
Right.
So,
But our next scheduled meeting,
as of now is September 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in City Hall Chamber.
we're gonna get more than 2 viewers on this one.
We will, we will.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn.
Awesome, so we're gonna adjourn at